About 2 years ago, I started investigating the deaths of the Carmichael family. The lineage of all these people leads back to a smashed pickup truck along Route 103 in 1989.
Welcome back to the Fiend Zone here on Horror Fiend TV. For those who are new to the channel, if in case you are wondering, the Fiend Zone is one of these shows that we do when, well, if we have something in mind as far as a film we want to talk about, as far as horror news that, we've seen something that interests us, or just in general, just a movie that is not part of our schedule, that for some reason, well, we just want to talk about it because we have some sort of feelings, whether we like it or dislike it, or just simply want to bring it to you, to your attention to see what you think of this film. So, for example, in this episode of the Fiend Zone, we are going to be talking about the fifth installment of the Hell House LLC franchise. Unlike the other films, Hell House LLC Lineage took a different approach. Did it work? Now, for us found footage horror fans, the Hell House LLC series is one that, well, the first film was a very fun film. Might not be perfect, but it is one of the films that is talked about as far as the found footage horror genre. Now, you have your Blair Witch, you have your Paranormal Activity. For me, I'm a massive Grave Encounters guy. And I would put Hell House LLC up there as far as some of the films that, well, it created and continued to thrive and showed how good the found footage genre can be. Now, in this one in particular, they decided to just go into conventional movie route. I'll be honest with you, it took a while for me to really get into this film because I am so accustomed to the series being found footage. Now, I understand why they decided to take this approach. They wanted to go deeper into the history and backstory of the Abaddon and the Carmichael and the mysterious and evil gentleman known as Tully. When you watch this film, there is a lot they're trying to get across. I do understand how difficult it will be to turn this one in particular into found footage, but the fact that this is what is the foundation of your franchise and you decide to go into a different direction, well, it's a very bold move. And I'm curious, as a fan of found footage horror, and if you're a fan of the Hell House LLC series, did this actually work for you? Now, the main protagonist in this film is Vanessa. Now, Vanessa is a particular character because we understand that she went through the experience of the Abaddon. But this is where I have a difficult time with this film as far as this character is you wanted to know exactly what she went through in the Abaddon. And you really don't. You get parts where you feel like you're going to get some backstory exactly what happened. You know she's a survivor, but what happened to her exactly? And this carries throughout the whole film. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of details as far as things that happen in this film, while I'll try not to. But the fact that here you have a character that you're basing the movie on, that you're giving her the backstory of having experienced what happened in the Abaddon, but you don't tell us as an audience. And I think that was a problem. This is nothing against Elizabeth Vermillion. I think she did well for her role. And I feel like her role could have been more in depth. But it felt like it was being basically held back a little bit. Now, this is a big spoiler. There's going to be a sequel to this movie. But it's the fact that you have to sell us this character in order for us to really gravitate towards her. And I didn't. I really didn't at all in this film. I found some of her actions a little bit out of the ordinary. Just, I don't know. It was something with this character that I had a hard time really trying to focus on and understand exactly what she's going through and caring of the things that she's going through and just in general as a character. But it just didn't work for me. Now, throughout this film, we do get something called the Abaddon Eyes, which I'll be honest, Once again, this is something they're throwing in, and the Abaddon eyes is basically you start hallucinating and you go through these basically intense things where you're going through these traumatic moments and you're seeing things. And well, one of the things that made Hell House LLC such a great film was the clowns, and one in particular that we all love so much because it was spooky as fuck. But this is one of the issues I have with this film as well, being that it's not a found footage. We've seen so many films of how they do the jump scares. And unfortunately, when you try to follow the formula of your found footage films, prior films, and you're trying to do it in a conventional film, it's just didn't seem to work for me. Now, yes, it sounds like I'm bashing this film, but understand because I enjoyed the Hell House LLC franchise. I like the fact that we had that found footage aspect where you're stumbling onto the clowns or you're looking at the camera, you're not even paying attention to the clowns, so you see their movements. This is some of the stuff I enjoyed. But in this film, it just felt like you knew they were gonna move. And you didn't have that shock value of, oh shit, did they see it or did they not see it? It's just one of those things that once again, it's going back and forth whether or not this should have been a conventional film or it should have continued with the found footage franchise. I mean, what do you think? For me, this is where the film should have gone. We had the return of Alice, played by Sierra Saka, who we seen in Hell House Origins, Carmichael Manor. She's investigating exactly what happened to Rebecca and Margot, who were investigating the Carmichael Manor in that film. Now, this is where it could have went into a documentary style investigation film. We could have followed Alice and gone through everything she's going through to exactly find out what happened in the Carmichael Manor and how this ties to everything. We could have been introduced to Vanessa in this direction because Alice is trying to get information from Vanessa, but once again, Vanessa is locked down. Doesn't want. Yes, you know what? I'm going to spoil some of the movie, but anyways, so I believe this is where the film should have gone because the Alice character was more interesting than the Vanessa character, and Alice had more on the line and more of a foundation of a story to pursue. And I think this is where we could have kept the found footage aspect of the series. Now, unfortunately, things happen to Alice, but I feel like this is where they should have gone. And once again, it's like you're trying to decide where do you want this franchise to go now. Now, we know the next film is going to be a conventional film, but during this process, how much are you actually damaging the fans who love the found footage aspect of your franchise? Are you going to turn them away? Are they going to be interested in the film? Are they going to be interested in how much story you're trying to tell and give us the history of Tully and the Carmichael family? So overall, I be honest, like I said, I had a hard time watching this film. If I was to rate it, if this was on Three Corners of Horror, I would have probably gave it a 2 out of 5. It has some moments where I was like, "Oh, this is good," but for me, I'll be honest, I was turned away more by the fact that they didn't go the found footage route. I mean, they had one scene in there which is probably the closest to the found footage, but it was so sloppily done that I didn't care for it. And at the same time, saying like, "See, why don't you go found footage?" But no, you decided not to. But overall, this film I feel like is going to divide a lot of people of this franchise. Now, I understand for the filmmakers, they wanted to try a different approach to see what they could do to continue to build this franchise. But at the same time, how much are you taking away of what drew us found footage horror fans to your franchise? But let me know what you think. It's currently streaming on Shudder. I am very curious, especially for you found footage horror fans. How do you like the approach they took for this film? Did it bother you as much as it bothered me? Like I said, I wanted to get a little bit more deeper into this film, but I'd rather leave it at this because I am more interested in what you have to say than my thoughts of this film. Because leave a comment below, I will reply, and I will debate of what you thought of this film. If you liked it, tell me why. If you agree with me, tell me your points of why you agree with me. But overall, definitely let me know what you think. This is JR Horror Fiend TV, the Fiend Zone. Yes, and don't forget, Thursday night, we are live once again We are going to the movies to see Predator Badlands. PG-13. Is that a fucking problem or what? But I'll give it a shot. PG-13 isn't my thing, but if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, well, you're gonna have to wait to see Thursday night.